Hi everyone. So I'm just gonna quickly show you the few issues that I have with the new Enjoywood black parallel guide system. This is basically the SKU for the product, and you can easily identify it on Banggood or wherever you're getting this from by the pictures from this manual. I mean, it's quite good. It's very well illustrated, so no issues there. And this is how the actual parallel guide system looks like in the box. Now, it's all pretty well packed, so no issues there, and a few things are missing here. You're gonna see soon why. So the main reason why I purchased this parallel system is to be able to use it with my Milwaukee track saw and with the proprietary Milwaukee track. So I'm just quickly gonna put this aside because it doesn't matter anymore. And what we are going to check now is that I have this very simple laminate board, or chipboard if you want to call it that. And this is the track that I'm going to use. So it's all good, it works perfectly fine, no issues there. However, and this is the part where the issues gonna surface pretty soon. So the actual part of the parallel guide attaches very solidly, so no wiggle, no jiggle, everything looks perfect, so it's all good. Let's see. We are not gonna cut anything today. All we're gonna do is just draw some marks for ease of use, and I apologize for the shaky video. I'm doing it by one hand, so I think you're gonna see what I mean when we get there. So as soon as I align the guide to the board, it can fit perfectly. So if, for example, we just put it here, these stops gonna go there fine. There are 4 screws, 2 screws here and 2 screws there. We're gonna talk about that a bit later, but they ain't really that useful. Now, there is a micro adjuster here, which looks pretty good on paper. And the truth to the matter is that once you set it up perfectly fine, it's gonna work, but there are some glitches. So my first issue was that what I attempted to do is using this side of the fence, obviously. I want to set the settings to 300 millimeters here. And it's not really right here, so I apologize for that. And we're gonna do the same on the other side. So let's quickly set it precisely to 300. Now, if all I do is just press it against here, no gaps for the stop, absolutely zero gaps, no gaps here, as you can see. So if all I do is just quickly, and there are no lines, by the way, so I can just quickly show you. And if I reattach the fence, because I moved it, obviously, so no gaps, no gap, all looks good. And if all I do is quickly, using my 0.5 millimeter pencil, draw one line here, and if I move this entire thing, I can tell that there is a line. So let's see if the measurement is actually what it's supposed to be. So keep in mind, this is 300 millimeters, or at least it's supposed to be. Now, what I am going to use for measurement purposes is my Hongri 600 millimeter T-ruler, and we're gonna also use a standard, measuring tape, nothing extra from Milwaukee for the stud. It's fine. So if I push it here exactly parallel to the side of the board, what you're gonna see is that this is off, like significantly off. To be very precise, this is off by 6.5 to 6.7 millimeters. Now, let's just assume that this is 6.5, okay? So 0.02 of a millimeter by hand on camera, I think it's acceptable level of error. So this gives us 6.5 millimeters of dead space, and I can quickly show you that once again. So it's supposed to be 300, instead it's 306.5 in millimeters, obviously. So just to be 100% safe, maybe the Hungry scale is off, let's use the Milwaukee measuring tape. It's quite difficult to do with one hand, so let me quickly just lock it. And if I pull it right to the edge of the board, and if I come back again, you're gonna see, I know it's very difficult to see it on camera, but this is also 306.5. So that's bad. Now, what is the part that actually causes this? I mean, based on my opinion so far, there are two factors to it. One is kind of obvious, the other one is not so much. So, one of the issues is that this fence, when it comes to its length, is basically 18.5. Maybe, yeah, it's like 185 millimeters in width, basically. I know it's difficult to see it on camera once again, but this is just, you know, references. And the other one, I believe, is the more difficult to track part. Now, if you take a look at the stopping fence here and the pin, I'm gonna try to get you some more light this way. So as you can see, and I'm zooming in on it on purpose, the stop itself is not flush with the needle. So the needle here, which gives you the number, and the fence itself is not fully flush. Now, what I'm gonna use is a measuring gauge, basically. And if we aim for, let's go for 6.5, just to see. This is, well, that wasn't smart. So if I put the 6.5 millimeters in width, and before I do that I need to remove this screw, otherwise it's going to give you false information. And if I put it here, I'm hoping that you can see that this has now become somewhat of a parallel stop to the needle. Now, that's bad. I think what causes this issue is basically this little gasket in between the flip stop. So between here and this guy here. It might be, might not be. I didn't actually disassemble this part, so I don't fully know. This is my biggest issue when it comes to this. And the other one is the other function of the parallel guide, which I don't think I would be using it that often because I have a table saw. So these sticks, now if you would, based on the manual, just screw these little adapters where they go in perfectly fine, so no issues there, then what you're gonna end up with is a super long ass piece of rod sticking out. Now you would say that, okay, but you would need to use it to, you know, like cut a strip smaller than your actual fence, because then you would turn this right over and then it would, you know, go under the fence, it would hold it, and you would be able to use it as like a stop. The problem is that the length of this rod is nowhere near what it's supposed to be. So, at least based on how I would use it. So if I put my square here, you can see now it's flush. And this sits somewhere around 153-ish. I mean, the scale in the middle is supposed to serve this specific purpose. So what's going on? I don't know. Now you might say that, okay, dumbass, why don't you just unscrew this piece and use it in the other hole where these golden threads are? And I would say, okay, fine, let's go for it. If I would, that would be awesome. Excellent. So by doing this, I would technically be able to adjust it here. So yeah, this sounds horrible. Excellent. So now it's in place. Now I put my square here, flush to the edge, and now this looks good to me, at least by one hand. And if I tighten this down, it does actually hold the rod, so it's fine. So it says 0. Now we all know right now that this is not necessarily going to be 0 once I move it. This is more likely going to be 0.65 if I would, you know, attach something. I mean, no, this would be flush because the reference is now 0 with the rod. So the 0.65 millimeters issue is now out of the picture. The problem that I have with this is then if I want to, you know, turn this around to go under the board, I'm unable to do it. So what's going on? So based on all of this, I think I'm going to contact Enjoywood and maybe send them this video prior to sending you guys to see their reaction, and maybe they're gonna be able to come up with a proper solution. Now, obviously, the first thing that I would solve if I were BAM, you know, is to eliminate the gap between the, let's go here, between the needle and the stop block, because then it would be fine. And the second solution would be either A, drill 2 other holes, one here and one here, by 5 millimeters offset that way. So if you would be using this Milwaukee track, then essentially you would use those 2 holes which offset the entire thing by 5 millimeter, and then you, or 6, doesn't really matter, and eliminate the play here, and that would give you accurate readings when it comes to the external scale, so the scale that you would use without these rods. The internal one is a much different issue, because either A, these rods needs to be cut to the precise length that they needs to be, taking into account the end of the rod from here, from the end of the rib fence to here. So I didn't actually check how long it's supposed to be. Or you would redesign this part so the holes here that they have would go below it. So this one has threads, this one doesn't. This is a pass-through. Now if these 2 would have been switched, then this issue might have been solved, I don't know, possibly. So that's all I gotta say, and take care, guys. Hopefully you're gonna enjoy a product that actually is accurate as it's supposed to be. By the way, the accuracy, so the way how it handles the sides when you actually set it to be parallel is perfectly fine. So no wiggle, no jiggle. And if I would like just quickly do one quick test, so I know for a fact that if I set it to 293 millimeters here, 0.5, and if I do the exact same thing here, And if I tighten it down, and if I dial it where it's supposed to go, then if I would, you know, remove the rod, put it somewhere else, flip it this way, flip it that way, so both are on 293.5, at least I'm hoping so. This might be a bit off. The micro adjuster works fine. It's a little clicky, but nothing serious. And if I would push it here next to the board, and as you can see, flush, flush. If I drew my line here, once again, now there are two lines, and the one farther to me is basically the one that we are looking to evaluate now. And if I put the same T-square here, then if everything goes well, yeah, this is very close to 300. It's just off by maybe by a hair, but it's not even that. So as you can see, the way how the parallel system itself works with the correct measurement is perfect. It's just this offset by 6.5 millimeters is something that drives me nuts. So thanks for watching, and see you guys.